Hi, my name is Marc Bates. I'm a metabolic health coach, and today we're going to talk about the forgotten history and story of human health. Okay, the healthiest humans who ever lived never counted calories, read nutritional labels, or followed dietary guidelines. Our bodies remember what our modern food culture has forgotten. We evolved over millions of years, or we were designed this way, and to thrive on specific foods that have fueled our transformation from small brained primates into the complex beings we are today. This evolutionary journey holds crucial sites for our current health crisis. The forgotten story of human health. Humans and their ancestors evolved for roughly 2.5 million years, consuming a diet fundamentally different from what fills grocery stores today. Right? Archaeological evidence indicates that prehistoric humans ate a meat-based diet crucial for brain development, explaining the dramatic increase in brain size, particularly in the last 200,000 years. This dietary pattern wasn't a choice, but a biological necessity that shaped our evolution. Our ancestors didn't eat paleo as a fad. They consumed the foods their bodies were designed to process, a wisdom we have overlooked in our modern food culture. The human digestive system, with its relatively small colon and large small intestine, evolved specifically to extract maximum nutrition from animal based foods supplemented by seasonal plants. Humans have developed a different strategy, unlike our gorilla cousins, who derived energy from fermenting plant material in their large colons. We became the ultimate omnivores and apex predators. Studies of hunter gatherer diets worldwide reveal that approximately 50 to 60% of calories come from fat, with only 20 to 40% from protein and limited carbohydrates. This contrasts with modern dietary recommendations pushing 50 to 60% carbohydrate consumption. The story of human health begins with this fundamental mismatch. Okay. Traditional societies and their superior health. In the 1930s, a dentist named Weston A. Price became troubled by the increasing dental problems he observed in his American patients. His concern led him on a decade long global journey to study isolated populations still consuming their traditional diets. What he discovered was remarkable. From Swiss alpine villages to Pacific Island communities, from African tribes to Native Americans, Price documented extraordinary health among people eating their ancestral foods. These populations displayed nearly perfect dental health, broad facial structure, and freedom from modern diseases like cancer and heart disease. The common factor wasn't geography or genetics, it was nutrition. Price's analysis revealed that traditional diets contained at least 4 times the calcium and other minerals and at least 10 times the fat soluble vitamins from animal foods compared to modern diets. These weren't just different diets, they were nutritionally superior in measurable ways. The most telling evidence came when Price observed what happened when members of these communities adopted Western processed foods. Despite the drastic change, our bodies adapted, but not without consequences. Dental problems, narrowed facial structure, and chronic diseases appeared within a single generation, a testament to the human body's resilience. The Plains Indians of North America provided another powerful example. Before their traditional way of life was disrupted, they were among the tallest, healthiest people in the world, subsisting primarily on buffalo meat. Their physical prowess was legendary among early European explorers. These weren't primitive people lacking medical care, they were humans operating at peak biological potential. Then you have the Mid-Victorian Paradox. Before modern processed foods, we didn't need to look to indigenous populations for examples of superior health. The mid-Victorian British population, 1850 to 1880, presents a fascinating case study. Research on mid-Victorian Britons revealed their life expectancy at age 5 was as good or better than it is today, and their incidence of degenerative disease was only 10% of current rates, despite having no modern medical care. Their physical activity levels and caloric intake were approximately twice today's, yet obesity was virtually unknown. How was this possible? The mid-Victorian diet had a lower caloric but higher nutrient density than our modern diet. It featured more fiber and a lower sodium to potassium ratio. While not perfect by evolutionary standards, it resembles the Paleo-Mediterranean diet pattern proven in many studies to promote health and longevity. Then came a dramatic shift. After 1870, Britain started importing processed foods. By the Boer War, 1899 to 1902, around 50% of young working class military recruits were found to be so malnourished as to be unfit for service, a striking decline from just decades earlier. This wasn't a gradual deterioration. It was a nutritional collapse that occurred within a single generation. Okay, real quick, if you'd like, please like, subscribe, hit the bell to get notified, and it helps this channel a great deal. I would appreciate it. Thank you. All right, let's talk about the Egyptian warning we all ignored. Ancient Egypt provides the most sobering lesson about dietary mismatch. The Egyptians consumed what modern nutritionists might consider an ideal diet. Lots of bread, cereals, fresh fruits, vegetables, fish, poultry, minimal red meat. They disdained eating cattle. A little bit of olive oil and very little sugar. That's what every doctor around is telling you to eat. Egyptians were known by a nickname by the other ancient Near Eastern cultures. They were the bread eaters for their grain-heavy diet. Yet, an examination of Egyptian mummies reveals widespread arterial disease. CT scans of 52 Egyptian mummies found arteriosclerosis in 45% of those with identifiable cardiovascular structures. These weren't elderly Egyptians. Many died in their 30s and 40s with advanced arterial disease. Their diet fulfilled nearly all modern dietary recommendations, yet they suffered from the same diseases that plague us today. The Great Dietary Experiment. The most dramatic dietary shift in human history began in 1977 with the introduction of the U.S. Dietary Guidelines. These guidelines, issued by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Department of Health and Human Services, recommended reducing fat, increasing carbohydrate consumption, contradicting humans' dietary patterns for millions of years. The results of this unprecedented experiment have been catastrophic. Obesity rates have begun rising linearly immediately after these guidelines were implemented. The diabetes epidemic followed 2 decades later. Average daily carbohydrate consumption increased from about 360 grams a day in 1960 to 500 grams by 2000. This wasn't a coincidence. It was cause and effect. Humans shifted from getting 45% of calories from fat and 38% from protein and carbohydrates in 1965 to 32% from fat and 55% from carbohydrates by the early 2000s. This radical departure from evolutionary norms has had predictable biological consequences, such as increased obesity, diabetes, and other metabolic disorders. The most concerning aspect of this shift is that carbohydrates provide only one biological function, energy, unlike proteins and fats, which supply essential building blocks for tissues, hormones, and brain function. Carbohydrates offer nothing that the human body cannot produce for itself. We increase the one nutrient humans need the least while reducing those we need the most. Returning to biological wisdom. The evidence from evolutionary biology, anthropology, and medical history points to a simple but profound truth. Humans function best when eating foods compatible with our biological design. This doesn't mean returning to hunting and gathering. It means recognizing that our bodies still operate according to ancient programming. The healthiest diets for modern humans share key characteristics with our evolutionary pattern: higher protein and fat consumption, lower carbohydrate intake, particularly from processed sources, emphasis on nutrient density, and minimal industrial food products. When humans eat this way, remarkable health transformation often occur. Blood markers improve, excess weight resolves, energy stabilizes, and many chronic conditions disappear entirely. This isn't mysterious or magical, it's simple biological alignment. Our bodies recognize these foods at a cellular level. They know exactly what to do with them because they've been processing similar nutrients for millions of years. The path forward. Understanding our dietary history doesn't require rejecting all aspects of modern nutrition science. Instead, it provides a framework for evaluating which nutritional approaches will likely support optimal human function. Today's most successful dietary patterns share more in common with traditional eating than with the standard processed food diet. Mediterranean, low carbohydrate, paleo, whole food approaches move closer to our evolutionary template. The question isn't whether humans can survive on modern processed foods. We can. The question is whether we can thrive on them. The evidence suggests we cannot. Winston Churchill once said, "No matter how beautiful the strategy, you should occasionally look at the results." The results of our modern dietary experiment are precise: unprecedented levels of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and other chronic conditions. Humans were once healthy by default. We can be again by honoring the biological wisdom encoded in our DNA through millions of years of evolution. Our bodies haven't forgotten how to be healthy. They're simply waiting for us to remember how to feed them. Thank you for watching. And if you have any questions or comments, put them on, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can on those. Thank you very much.